Okay, so while Vance is setting up or asking for permission, just to share with everybody, we've got 17 steps to the OW64 app. The first six steps are under a stage called Clarity, and Vance has completed the first six steps. So we've got a review in the app that says we're going to review the first six steps and how did it go. And Vance is going to do a review for us. So he's going to walk us through step 1 through 6, what he's learned, how he feels about these steps. And as he does that, I'm recording and we're going to put this into the mural plus uses presentation. So I think it'll go well. So Vance, whenever you're ready, you can get started. I'll stay on video and mute.
All right. Just made a simple slideshow. So, good evening, everyone. Well, good afternoon to some of you. Dr. Vance Cooper, once again, just been going through this clarity process. So, appreciate George for inviting me to be able to do this. So, I'm going to go through this and just kind of let you know what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. So, step one was develop a meaningful goal. And so, my goal is to, I set off with with the goal to become an internationally renowned professional speaker. I do a lot of training, personal development, but for me this year, it was specifically the goal was to become a better speaker. And so, started off with that was the goal at stage one. Then step two was just George really helped me get some clarity about that goal. And so step two was just making that goal a little bit clearer. And so I want to be an internationally renowned speaker, helping extraordinary individuals unlock unrealized leadership potential. Because a lot of my training and personal development work that's really focused on helping people become a leader, helping people unlock unrealized potential, helping people really recognize their strengths, limitations, things of that nature. So just making that goal a little bit clearer. Step three was connecting the goal to who I want to be. So though I was just naming the goal, but the next step is that you really want to make sure that you're kind of becoming the goal. You want to really make sure that you are stating your goal with the end in mind. So it was really attaching a date and let's really being a little bit more intentional and clarifying that goal. So it went from what it was in step two to it's December 31st, 2026. And I'm an internationally world renowned speaker who's grateful for the support of my wife. I completed 60 speaking engagements and I am leaving every person I encounter with the impression of increase. So, in addition to talking about some of the things that you want to accomplish, you want to really make sure that it's something you want to make sure that you are recognizing the tangible and the intangible legs of that goal. That's something that at step three, you just really connect that goal with the person that you want to be in the end. Now, step four was identifying some of the main areas that I wanted to work on. So I started off with four areas. So it was my working on my daily schedule, conducting research on a regular basis, writing publications, and conducting weekly outreach. So those were the four first main areas that I identified that I really just believe would put me on the path to becoming a better speaker, which is the primary goal. And so next step was to list a couple of small tasks for each goal. So looking at my daily schedule, one of the main things, and I just listed a couple here, but just one of the main things that I wanted to do was stop hitting the snooze button because that was something that I really wanted to get a good hold of my routine so that when I wake up in the morning that I'm not then I'm just jumping right into my loop routine rather than hitting the snooze button. So stop hitting the snooze button. And then I'm a very spiritual person as well. So immediately once I wake up, just jumping right into my prayers, especially my gratitude for the day, because that's something that really just when I get up right away and when I start my day that way, it really just sets me off on the right. I just have a real good start and real good feeling about how the day's going to become. And then next was writing publication because I've been working on a book, and so the book process for me has been a little bit of bumpy in the road because of various life experiences. So just want to be intentional about just making sure that I'm consistently at least a couple times a week writing. So I just start off with something simple, writing 45 minutes per week. I actually been writing a mentorship book for a couple of years now. And so one of my goals is really being able to finish that book for this year. And then next, conducting weekly out research. So just making sure that I'm reading daily. So I just set a simple goal, 10 minutes per day. A lot of times when I'm doing that, I'm reading 30 minutes, 45 minutes, but just a simple 10 minutes per day, making sure that I'm regularly just reading, staying on top of the things that are happening in my field. I'm staying on top of current events, and then set a simple goal of reading 12 books before the end of the year. And then next is a weekly outreach. So just making sure that people that I meet, any active leads that I had, just making sure that I'm going through my emails on a daily basis, seeing if there's any responses to the emails that have been sent out, making sure that I'm staying on top of that. And then also I set a goal of identifying different podcast guest opportunities as well. So just making sure that I'm conducting weekly outreach to just really stay on top of just trying to make new connections. And so I combine step six and seven, if you don't mind, George, a little bit. I kind of cheated a little bit, but um, basically for this is my complete OW64. So I don't know how many of you. I'm assuming that everybody is that, or that nobody's familiar with this. But basically, I've put the big goal in the middle. So it's December 31st. I'm an internationally world-renowned speaker who's grateful for the support of my wife. I completed 60 speaking engagements. I am leading, and I am leaving every person I encounter with an impressive increase. So start off with that, then the four main cornerstone goals: the conducting research, the daily schedule, writing publication, and the weekly outreach. Those are the four uh, four goals on the outer corners. So those are my primary ones that I really started focusing on. And so and then the next ones that I started that I said that were going to really help me be able to accomplish that big goal was you'll see in the gray boxes: big stage presentations, social media posts, family time, and then teaching. And so I have all my goals that I have put in place that are going to be able to help me accomplish these big goals that are in the center boxes. Those are the things that those are basically my path to basically knocking out all these goals that are on this OW64. And so I really appreciate George for having me go through this process because I never really I've already developed a process for myself to be able to set big goals for myself, but really being able to go through this process of really kind of thinking about these things and thinking about different small goals, because the goal is you really want to be able to get small wins, and so being able to have these these milestones and these tasks that are going to be able to help me accomplish the goals that I've put in these boxes. It really is just a good feeling when you're able to have these little small wins around the way, because you really want to be able to celebrate, like you want to be able to celebrate those small wins just as important, just as much as those big wins, because the small wins that you have are really going to be able to keep you motivated in terms of being able to accomplish everything that's on this list. So that's, you said through step 6. So
So
I'll
yeah. So
I'll yield to
yeah,
what you
yeah.
want me to do now.
Dr. Cooper. Okay, explain to everybody what the yellow is. And we called the areas, we called them pillars. We said areas or pillars. We put a lot of attention on what we called the cornerstone pillars, which are the dark red ones. And then you got cornerstone milestones. So explain what the yellow is and the blue is.
So the yellow is, those are the tasks that I highlighted that are going to be the most important routine. So those are different routines that are going to help me accomplish my goals. So the yellow ones are the 10 most important ones, or the ones that I feel like are going to be the ones that I want to focus on the most primarily, at least at this point. And
Okay.
so the blue ones are milestones. So those are the 10 most important milestones, at least up to this point, that I want to make sure that no matter what, that I'm accomplishing.
Yeah, great. So those milestones have a date. Where did you put the date? Is it right in there?
Some of them, so the milestones, it'll be like before the end of the year. So
Right.
I didn't, so for some of them, December 31st, obviously the end of the year. There's like for this one, planning the entire week in advance. I say by Sunday, basically Sunday midnight every week. So it's embedded into the into the goal.
Good, good. And we talked last time about trying to connect the cornerstone routines in a chain of routines. Did you try that in the last day or two?
Yeah, so I have been, at your suggestion, I've actually been, this is for probably the last couple of days, I've actually started out of doing something out of the norm for me, which is trying to do my writing in the morning instead of, because usually I write it in the evening. And then I think that writing in the morning, it's only been a couple of days now, but I've already not hit snooze, writing in the morning, and then I read by 10 o'clock. I'm usually, if I haven't read by 10 o'clock, I'm stopping whatever I'm doing. I'm reading for at least 10 minutes at 10 o'clock, and then I'm actively checking my emails on a daily basis. So yeah, I have been connecting all those cornerstone routines.
Cool. Okay, I think that takes us to the end of the summary, and I want to thank you very much. So great job. If everybody then comes on and we could start asking Dr. Vance Cooper Jr. questions that we have on what he's done so far. So, Brenton, why don't you go first?
Yeah, happy to, George. Yeah, really well done, Vance. I'm sitting thinking, yep, you've covered all the territory, and I like the way you've approached it. The one thing that, as I was sitting listening to you speak, at the end of the day, you've actually got to be up in front of an audience presenting. Now, so I don't know whether you've got another persona when you're presenting to groups of people or not. And George touched on it when he first introduced you this morning, or when we first started, about your calmness and your cool, very deliberate in how you're speaking, and that's great. It genders confidence, and I think this man knows what he's talking about. But I'm thinking about when you're on stage in front of 100 people. I'm not so sure that persona is something that I would be sitting through, and I think I don't know what your persona on stage is, but it doesn't seem to get much of an airplay in your open Windows 64. But somewhere in there, I'd be plugging in acting skills. Now, I might be completely off the tangent because I haven't seen you in action, but just the thought there around acting skills, use of hands, pitch, voice up and down, all the things. That's all fantastic. All the everything you've said. But at the end of the day, you're going to be standing in front of 200 people, 1,000 people, whatever, and you're going to hold their attention for 30 minutes. So that was what came to my mind as I was listening to you.
No, it's funny you say that. So I actually am in I'm in a speaker community. Like I'm actually in a couple of speaker communities. So I actually do all that type of training. Like I actually was just in Atlanta for a speaker mastermind a couple weeks, like maybe 2 weeks ago. It's like 2 weeks. Yeah, it's about 2 weeks ago now. And so I've definitely and I'm intentional about making sure that I'm doing what I need to do to develop as a speaker as well. Because even though it is something that I've been doing for years now, and I'm very comfortable speaking in front of various audiences. But one thing about it is I know is that the people who are doing speaking on a high level, they're doing it all the time, and they're constantly doing personal and professional development and putting themselves in the environments that where it makes them become better speakers. So no, 100%. The only reason I didn't put it on there was because it was something that I've already been doing since last year. So I know George challenged me to do things that put things on there that I haven't already started implementing. So that's really the main reason why it's not on there.
Cool. Okay, and I'm happy about that. That's great to hear. I'm really happy to hear that.
Okay, Kyle, you get the next question.
Yeah, I guess thinking about the overview, everything seemed very streamlined, went from step to step, everything very organized and seemed like a very simple sequence all the way through from beginning to end. I realized you merged step 6 and 7, so it was kind of all complete. We see it all completed.
Yeah.
Was there
Yeah.
any parts along the way where it wasn't so easy, or you stumbled, or it felt like you didn't just land on a 64 chart, but did it take any work?
Oh no, 100% it took work. I actually was telling George that. So I I kind of skipped ahead based on like between what me and George had been discussing and working on. I kind of was looking ahead, just with me getting curious. So I had already started and completed an OW64, and when I started doing it, I couldn't complete all the boxes. And then my next meeting with George, I actually was like, "Hey, George, is the idea for you to fill every single one of these boxes out?" And George was like, "Well, actually, yes." And then so I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, so I need to take a step back and really like kind of really think about what the things that I need to do. So to answer your question, it was definitely difficult. So once then George suggested starting off with like just filling out 32. And then once I did the 32 and just completed the 32, that made it a lot easier when when I completed the other boxes. Something psychologically about just thinking about it from 32 and 32, it just made it a lot easier for me to be able to come up with a different task. So I think that me going back and starting off with the 32 and then focusing on the other 32, I think that really is something that helped with that.
And did you have the 8 pillars that you ended up with in your 64 chart? Is that the same 8 you started with?
No, no, it's not the same. The first 4, yes. The cornerstone routines, yes, but the other ones, no.
And at what point in time during this process did you change those other 4? Was it when you were already started trying to fill it out? Was it after you had figured out your goal more clearly? Like, where in the timeline for you did that happen, the changing of those pillars?
So that changed I did when I started off with 64, I just had 8 things that I had come up with. And then when I did 32, and then like I completed that chart, and then when I went back and started thinking about the other 4 routines, or the other 4 goals, that's when I really was like, well, this actually makes a little bit more sense. So I think I changed like I want to say it was at least 1 or 2. I think it was 2, but yeah, 1 or 2 of them I changed.
So by going ahead and doing the 32, it gave you a better sense of the overall to help you figure out what the 8 pillars should be once.
Right. Right.
Sounds
Right.
good.
Yeah, it made it a little bit clear. Yeah, I had a little bit more clarity when I did the 32, and then when I was just able to focus on it from 4, I was able to think about it a little bit more in terms of what the real goals were. So yeah, some of those did change.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, Claren, you're next, and then Jose.
Yeah. Well, firstly,
By the way,
great
what
job.
time is it? What time is it, Claren? This is how
1:30.
dedicated our people are.
It's 6:01 in the morning. It's on the 5th now. I'm here. Yeah, no, but great, great. Um, I'm up at midnight just to listen to you, Dr. Cooper. It was good. It's a good chart that you've done. I've got one thing that I want to ask. You've talked about going first, you get to 4, then you fill in the other 4 other main pillars, main goals on the 64 chart, and then you did that 32, and then from there you spur onto the 64. One, what challenge did you face to get from the 32 to the 64? Because the one thing that when I tried to revise, I did some revision for this year's one, is that you tend to set a lot of just tend to set a lot of these tasks, which you end up going, wow, there's an overwhelm of tasks. You should just go back to simplifying certain things that is achievable, because it does get overwhelmed very easily to put things together. So I want to hear a bit more about that from you.
No, it was kind of hard to figure out exactly what the most important things were, because I wanted to have, I think I have a nice blend of big goals, which things that I've set that are like, it'd be great. Because like I said 60 speaking engagements. So it's like that's a lot of speaking engagements to be doing, especially if you're talking about professional ones. And I don't know if I'm going to accomplish that, but for me, it's like if I'm chasing that based on where I want to go, I think that big goal really helps
Mm.
me stay on task. And then having those the big goal is really the kind of the big win, and then having those, I really wanted to make sure that I had some things that I already kind of know that I can do, or like things that I should have already been doing, but it's like just a matter of me kind of writing it down on paper and having something to hold myself accountable to be able to actually making sure that I'm
Mm.
doing it. Because like in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about reading basically
Mm.
10 minutes a day. Reading 10 minutes a day, that's not a lot, which is why I say that I made that minimum, because a lot of times when I'm reading on a daily basis, I'm reading for 20 minutes. I'm reading for 30, 45 minutes, an hour sometimes, depending on how much time I have and how interested the thing is. So I think that me having those things that are achievable, like even with the book, writing, like me sitting down and writing for 45 minutes, like 45 minutes per week. We're not even saying 45 minutes a day. We're talking about 45 minutes a week. So that's like I think that's something that's small enough where it holds me accountable. But at the same time, since it's small enough to hold me accountable, a lot of times when I actually just am intentional about doing it, I get into like this groove where I might have this thought that's going, and then next thing you know, it's 20 minutes I'm writing. It's 10, it's 30 minutes, it's an hour. So I think that just me thinking about things that were like small and achievable, that we're going to like little micro goals that are going to be able to help me accomplish certain goals that I have. I definitely think that that's something that I think you have to have a nice blend of both things that are achievable and things that are like, wow, if I accomplish this, it'll be so crazy. So I think having that nice blend is very important.
Balance of between task and routine, I would say. Uh, Through my process as well, I use AI to help. I don't know if you've
Okay.
had to get stuck on that, just the generic chat GPT, Poe, all those things to help myself just to like solidify the concept. Uh, it, I don't know if
You
you
know, you
attempted
know what's
using
funny
that.
about it? You know what's funny about it?
Mm.
I didn't even think to put it in Chat GBT, to be honest with
It
you.
works.
Like
I
I
think
believe you,
Coach
but
George got me to.
this is all, as they say, this is all on the muscle. This is all me thinking,
Mm,
like just really sitting with myself, really thinking like, hey Vance, like what do you need to accomplish? And what are some ways to be able to do it? So yeah, it was just all brain power. But now that you mentioned it, I probably will put it in there just to
Yeah,
kind of get some feedback and see what it says.
I'm glad you
great.
did it the way you did it. That's where the value is. You know, putting it into
Yeah.
AI, it, it removes the emotion, it removes the connection.
I'm
So,
just going to make one comment on that
yeah,
I've
go
actually
ahead, Kyle.
found. Um, AI has worked really well for me when I have a bunch of legacy documents that I've written for myself of here's my business plan, here's my goal for myself, here's the things I want to achieve. If I have all of that stuff kind of developed by myself already, I've used AI to help build a 64 chart based on my inputs of things that I've developed that could be multiple businesses or multiple things, other spiritual parts of my life or whatever. And just here's all the things that are really important to me. Can you recommend a 64 chart that considers
Yeah,
all of these really things that I've already identified that are important to me, right? And that fed back a pretty good 64 chart I could edit on.
Hmm.
When I've asked it to do a 64 chart based on me being a business owner, wanting to do 60 speaking engagements a year, what should I do? It's just almost giving you too much where it's hard to get out of that rut of what it fed you, right? So I think, as George said, doing it on your own and using your own steam to influence it is where I've found it. It's a nice support tool, but not a do it for you tool.
nice. Jose, you got the last question before we invite Steph and Gergana back.
Hello, Dr. Vance Cooper. So congratulations. I see your 64 chart and it looks very robust. And I hear your comments. I see that you are pretty confident. But I want to take a step back, and you have already achieved the 6 steps, the clarity step of the process. Tell me which of the 6 steps, like choosing the meaningful goal, make the goal clear on step number 2, clear and specific. Step number 3, connect the goal who with who you are. Step number 4, identify the main areas that support the goal. Number 5, list the small task for each area. And then step number 6, build your own OW64 chart. From the 6 steps that you have already done, which step you really enjoyed the most, and which step you end up hating?
Yeah, good question.
Tell us about your experience, because that's what it counts, right? I don't know, when you talk to your wife, say, man, I just end up this step is really, really, I'm suffering because George is pushing me so hard and I won't have an idea. That happens to me. That's what I'm telling you. I know how it's working with George, and he pushes you to your limit. So give us your reflection. Which step do you really enjoy, and which step you didn't like, or which step you suffered the most?
Okay, so The the step that I enjoyed the most is actually creating the chart, because even though the chart challenged me as a researcher, it's like I've written a dissertation already, so that's challenging enough. So it's like for me, I almost looked at it like I already had these goals in mind, and this is just a different way for me to be able to think about the goals that I already have in mind. So I really did enjoy creating the chart. Now, the step that I probably didn't like the most, I would say, is probably also creating the chart. because the when I first started, like I was like when Kyle had asked, when I first started with the 64, I knew that it's an OW64 for a reason, but I genuinely was like, well, it's like why am I do I have to fill out every single one of these boxes? Because it really does seem like it's overwhelming when I was looking at it from that perspective. And I almost got it done, but it just was like you just kind of have burnout thinking about it from that standpoint. So it wasn't really until that it wasn't really until I went to 32 and 32. That's when I kind of was really able to more so enjoy the process of doing it. So yeah, so the same step was what I loved, and the same step is what I hated.
Okay, very good. That's a good experience. Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah, come on in, Gergana, and tell us what time it is for you. And also, Steph, come on in. And you guys go ahead and ask questions of Vance, and then we'll open it up for general discussion.
So now it's already 4 minutes past 1 a.m. So it's after midnight. But that's
Nobody
fine.
knows where you are. Where are you?
I live in Sofia, Bulgaria, which is part of European Union. A very nice country, and we are very close to Greece. Greece is our neighbor country.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to
Nice to
meet
meet
you
you.
all. Really nice forum that George is curating. I am wondering first for Dr. Vance Cooper, really great presenting your challenges and what actually made you enthusiastic to this method. Uh, but I'm just impressed now to see this is new for me. Chain of routines, cornerstones, and the 8 pillars, which are actually giving much more structure out of these 64 tasks. But I would like to ask, isn't it challenging to implement exactly at the same time all 8, or how many you implement at the same time?
Um, what I would say is that the I would say that the four cornerstones are the ones that I try to make sure that I do no matter what. So those four ones, like every day, I need to be doing something around those tasks every single day. So those are the ones that I primarily focus on. And then the other four are the ones where it's like they're important, but those are the ones where I have a little bit more leeway to be able to do. Like I don't really need to do them on a daily basis. Those so that's really kind of why I organize them in the way that I organize them. So like the cornerstone ones are basically something in the routine where I really have to do them on a daily basis if I want to be as successful as I say I want in my goal. And then yeah, like the other ones like it's teaching, big stage presentations, family time, social media. And so it's like I do have family time every day because I mean I still have I still have my wife. I am married. So but it's not a case of where it's like I'm not going out on a date on every day. We're not having movie nights every day, things like that. But I do want to make sure that I'm intentional about making sure that we're not just sitting in the house, enjoying each other's company. Like we're actually going out and doing different activities, going out of town, doing things like that. But it's not something I have to do on a necessarily a daily basis. Big stage presentations. I'm not going to be speaking on a daily basis, especially on like big stages. But it is something I want to do on a regular basis. Then it's like social media posts. Like I do post on social media, but I'm not really the biggest social media person. So it's more so like I treat social media more like a billboard than anything versus like an actual like me on there. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. So I do want to do it a couple times a week, but I try not, I don't put the pressure on myself to make sure that it's like I'm going on posting like, 2, 3 times a day. And then teaching for me is more so I'm not teaching any classes as a professor this semester. So it's like teaching for me is more so like guest lectures. Like I just did a guest lecture at a high school last week where I came into a class, me speaking at conferences, me talking on different panels. So those are things that though I want to be doing them on a regular basis, I'm not necessarily doing them on a daily basis. So I was just intentional about how I set up the Cornerstone routines so that it wouldn't put as much pressure on me to feel like I need to do certain things that aren't on those cornerstones on a daily basis.
Okay, and
Great.
Gergana, we only went through 1/3 so far. So he's got the clarity down. We haven't done action and reflection yet. So his answer would be different if you asked him in 3 weeks. Okay. Steph, you're up. Any questions for Dr. Vance Cooper Jr.?
Well, a lot of ground was already covered here. I guess immediately when I look at the grid, I think that's very overwhelming. I would immediately want to break this down into a calendar kind of event, maybe break pillars into quarters, but then that would also push off certain goals. So, maybe can you break down like you say you don't want to do some things every day because like the white boxes, they're not so important, right? But the
Mhm.
4 or the 5 red ones, they're super important. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess just how do you like to organize your week or month?
Well, for me, I organize my weeks. I don't really organize. I probably should get better about trying to, because somebody told me you should plan a year, you should plan your months, you should plan your weeks, you should plan your days. So that's really the ideally where I would be. Now I'm not really there where with planning my months, but I do plan out my years because I have like a big vision board. Like I'm in my desk now, but it's like literally right in front of my face where I have a vision board, basically everything that I want to accomplish throughout the year. I just like drawing. I'm not really cutting out magazines and things like that. I'm like literally drawing it, writing things out, and then I have a timeline at the bottom. It's like January to December, just different things that I want to accomplish as I go throughout the years. And those are more so like milestones that I have. Um, but I plan my year, like literally plan my year out. Then I plan out by the week. So usually on Sundays, which is a part of my daily schedule that I put, I on Sundays is usually when I just sit down and I just make it simple. I just think like, hey, Vance, what do you need to do this week? Like what things do you need to accomplish? Are there any meetings? There anything you need to any tasks you need to accomplish? So I write all those things out, and then the next thing that I write that out is like, who do I need to speak to? So if I have any meetings, like if there's specific meetings that are on my schedule, I write all of that out. And then from there, I've gotten a little better. It doesn't always work out where I can kind of plan. I've slacked out. I'll honestly say I've slacked off a little bit on because really, ideally, once I figure out what I want to do during the week, I want to be able to just like on Sundays, just kind of set all that out throughout the course of the week. So have at least Monday, really everything, Monday through Saturday. I just want to have everything just scheduled out in advance. So then that way I just already know what I want to do when and don't have to really think about it. But in most cases, what I do is I might schedule out like 2 days in advance or advance. So like for example, today, since I'm thinking about it right now, what I'll probably do is I'll set everything I need to do on Thursday, everything I need to do on Friday, everything I need to do on Saturday. I probably just set that up just kind of with dates, just the different tasks. And then what I'll do is I'll have I'll usually mark like what's like the non-negotiable. Like I absolutely one of the things that I've developed is what I like to call you kind of got a fixed and a flex schedule. So you got your things that are like fixed where it's like I have to absolutely get this done. And then I have other things that are on my list of things that I want to accomplish where it's like, all right, I need to do this, or maybe I want to do this, but if I don't get this done today, it's not really necessarily the end of the world. I can put that on schedule for the next day. So I really kind of think of things in terms of that, and that really helps me. So that of course I'm human, so there's definitely days where I might have 5 things on the list and I only accomplish 3 things that need be. But me being able to have those like kind of that fixed and that flex schedule or those fixed and those flex tasks, that's really what helps me be able to still get done what I need to get done while at the same time still, because you still have to give yourself some grace. Because things come up, it could be an emergency, it could be something we have these, it could be something where you have some scheduled time to accomplish a task, but all of a sudden you get pulled in. It could be a family member, it could be something emergency with work, or anything could pop up. So you want to just make sure that you're trying to, yeah. If you think about it in terms of like your fixed things, so maybe like one, like 2 or 3 things maybe that are like I absolutely have to get these things done, even though you really have like 6 or 7 things on your list. But you're like, you just got to make sure that once you're setting these tasks, you really have to really think about what's the priority as well.
Okay, that's almost the wrap. Any last questions? Any comments, concerns? Uh, Dr. Vance is here for us.
Maybe a question. Do you feel overwhelmed by the 64 chart, or have you figured out ways to make it something that feels like manageable for you?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Like I'm good. And like I said, we skipped the step 7, but I think that without me working ahead on that, I think skip step 7 really helps you kind of clarify and like really make sure that you're, because it's really a matter of prioritizing. So that's really the main thing. Just recognizing those things that I try to prioritize the things that I really don't want to do, because those are the things that really ultimately, like I've been kind of procrastinating on these things. So just really trying to hold myself accountable to making sure that I'm doing all the things I need to be doing to accomplish the goals I've set for myself.
Maybe I'll ask George, is there any cheat code or best practice on the 64 chart to give it a sense of order, that not all 64 items always have the same prominence, or they don't necessarily all come all at once based on the way that you use the chart and where you put them?
So there is the cheat code is simple. It's the Harada method. The original Harada method has a long-term goal form. And in that long-term goal form at the bottom, there are what are your 10 routines? And those are yellow in the OW64. And then on the right-hand side, it is what are the milestones? It could be in reverse. Anyways, the point is the milestones, when Norman was talking about it, was look, it could be a start or it could be a complete milestone. Give something a date. And based on the date, you're going to figure out when you need to start it. And that's where the priority comes in. So it's only 10 and 10. That's why he's got 20 colored. He doesn't know why, but that's
Yeah.
exactly why.
Okay, so the
Bottom of the
64 chart
long-term
will
goal form.
feed another form, so that form helps make it more manageable.
Yeah, but I'm not doing that with him.
Okay.
Yeah, Vance doesn't, he might have the form. He might not know that that's why the color coding is 10 and 10. That's
Yep.
the secret. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. Any other questions, guys?
I've got one comment from my, again, I'm referring to my assistant on AI when I start looking at certain things, and I do have it's a bit of slacking off every now and then, like recently because of actual things I'm trying to achieve on charts. And what AI did suggest is they use a common number, three. What's the three most important thing we want to do per this week? So I think three is from what I found, three is a common factor to get that be back on the horses and to get started. I'm not sure if that's something you picked up, George, out there.
Yeah.
Number
So
three.
yeah. So yeah, it is. It's actually. I think somebody said there's a law of three, and there could be a book. Anyways, I do that with companies, and I say, what are the three things we're going to focus on, and we call them themes. So, for example, Vance might look at his OW64 and say one of the themes is discipline, which runs through his whole OW64. The other theme is professionalism. The other theme is, I don't know, timeliness. So he can figure out what three themes he wants to work through, and that'll work through all of the OW64. And that goes for a company. And one of the things as a litmus test for a company is, are you working on a project? And if you cannot tie that project to one of the three themes that your company is interested in, drop the project, because that's not what's going to happen this year. Because usually a company is fighting for resources. But we don't put that in because we got 8. And 8, I think, is the favorite number of Japan. Is that right? Is it 7?
It's fortune. It's
7 in China?
It's 7. No,
Yeah.
it's the other way around. 8 is the
China,
8 is the lucky
and
number.
7.
China. 7
Yeah.
is lucky 7 in
Yeah.
Japan.
Okay, so the way that this thing comes up is called mandala. It's a mandala. That's what Mr. Takashi Hirata calls it. So that's why you got to complete it to get the luck. Okay. All right. Good question, Clarence. Thank you. If that's it, guys, take care. I'll see you next week if you're coming to Tom's and mine. Brenton, if you want to stay behind for like 3 minutes, if you got time, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure, George.
Gorgana, we'll chat in the future. Thank you all. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks, George.
Bye.
See you next week. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.